Good evening and welcome to the program. It's your program called Meet Your Leaders. And this program actually comes your way every Wednesday right here on Ubuntu channel. And right on it, my name is CHAZA. I'll be joined by my co-host, by the name Lance right here. And tonight we are looking at the topic called Is Zambia's Justice or Legal System Failing? And to help us, have this discussion, we have, Mr. Frank BWALYA, who actually happens to be the Socialist Party spokesperson. And, it's so exciting to host him, once again right here, because this is not the first time that, we are hosting him. Mr. Frank BWALYA, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. You are hosting me on this channel for the first time on this channel as spokesperson for the Socialist Party. So it is my pleasure. I wish to say good evening to everyone who is following the program.
Beautiful. Lance, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, CHAZA, and good evening to the viewers, as well as good evening to Comrade Frank BWALYA. It's good to be here.
Beautiful. And just like I earlier indicated, tonight we are looking at, the topic is Zambia's justice or legal system falling. That's the question that we have tonight. And to help us discuss, this topic, we have, Mr. Frank BWALYA, who is actually the Socialist Party spokesperson. And Mr. Frank BWALYA also happens to be the national chairperson for mobilization. And he happens also to be the former High Commissioner, to Australia. And I think, the first question that I may have, is Frank BWALYA. It is well known that, a sound judicial system is very important, in a country. But in your own perspective, would you tell us, the importance of having a sound judicial, system?
Allow me to preamble this program by stating that some people may think that a topic such as this one may only be ably handled by a lawyer, maybe a former judge, and so on. These may be people understood to have the competence, the capacity to articulate issues of this nature. However, because I'm appearing on this program as a spokesperson of a political party, it means that I'm not here to articulate my personal views on this matter. I'm here to articulate the views of the political party I belong to, for which I happen to be the spokesperson, the Socialist Party Zambia. So I think in that sense, I qualify to ably participate on this program, representing or articulating what our party stands for. Meaning, therefore, that even as I begin to talk about the importance of the justice system and so on, I will not be talking about what I think, but what the party stands for and the positions it has taken. And that said, allow me to further underscore the fact that we are human beings. We have potential, innate capacity to love, to be orderly, to live well together in a community, in a society. But we are also sinful human beings with the capacity to be destructive, the capacity to be disorderly, the capacity to injure one another, and even to create a lot of chaos in the society. And therefore, laws are there to ensure that we live in a manner that is humanly harmonious, that people can follow the law, and when they don't follow the law, that the law can visit them and they can be made to account. Meaning, therefore, that this system we have as human beings cannot be underestimated, cannot be overemphasized in terms of its contribution to order in society. The justice system, which is part of the same system of laws and so on and governance, equally helps to stabilize a society. So when I differ with you on this program, and I'm sitting next to you, which is not the case, of course, and I'm sitting next to you, I don't need to grab my cup of coffee and strike you in the face to make a point, or indeed to show my anger or to seek redress. I need to hold my cool, follow procedure, and if I indeed require a certain level of justice to be delivered to me, that I can go to the courts of law who would adjudicate, and I'll get the justice that I'm looking for, or indeed you will get the justice. Because when we talk about justice, one may get justice, the other one may not. So these systems are so important that in their absence, we cannot enjoy the freedoms that we have. We cannot exercise our rights and just to live harmoniously in society. I know that people who are following this program would have more examples and principles to add, meaning therefore that it is inevitable that we have systems of this nature in place, the judicial system, the whole infrastructure, the legal system, the criminal justice system, in order for us to live in peace, to have some level of harmony in order to develop, in order to enjoy life.
All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Frank. Just an emphasis to our viewers from wherever that you are watching us from. Remember that shortly we'll share with you the studio link where you can come in, express your view, ask your question, as well as express your point that you have on the topic of discussion that we are looking at this evening. And of course, back to you, Comrade Frank. Let's get to come a little bit personal to you, away from the party. Like, what really influenced you to join politics? And also, are you content with what you are seeing?
If you allow me to be rude, I will not answer that question. But only if you allow me to be rude, because you see, I said I was coming to this program as spokesperson for the Socialist Party. And if I articulate those issues, I will not be speaking for the party, but speaking for myself. But allow me to say that connected to this topic, one of the things, there are other things, one of the reasons I decided to join the Socialist Party is because it stands for justice and equity. And on this program, justice is the topic, maybe by extension, but it is the topic. And the Socialist Party stands for justice. So I want to believe one of the reasons why many other people, some of them this evening, we were in a township, in a compound where we were meeting people who wanted to hear more about the Socialist Party, to consider joining us, recruitment and so on, mobilization. This is why many people want to hear about the Socialist Party and to join it. And it's the reason why more and more people are joining the Socialist Party, because we stand for justice and people love justice.
All right, so we do appreciate that you've deviated from what you really wanted to represent, and you've tackled it on a personal level there. Now, coming back to the topic,
I've answered the question.
Exactly. Coming back to the topic, according to your observation, both personally and also as a party? Is the Zambia's justice system falling? What is the position? Give us your opinion, personally and also as a party.
The Socialist Party wishes to see a Zambia where you have a strong justice system, because there are many things that anchor on such a system, the strength of such a system. Talk about issues of development, attracting investment, not as if to say the Socialist Party, overrates foreign direct investment. It is good to have foreign direct investment, but we also believe in our people. And we believe that our people have the capacity to invest in their own country. Because what does it mean to be a foreign investor? It simply means bringing your money to another country to invest the money there. And usually you are driven by opportunities. It could be because it's cheaper to produce in that country. It could be because in that country where you are going, there are resources. It could be natural resources that are not available in your country, services, and so on and so forth. We have enough natural resources in this country. We have enough human resource, and there are many Zambians who've got money. They should be able to put their monies together, build a big hospital, that instead of our people going to India for treatment, but that they'll get that treatment at home, and people from other countries would come here. I digressed a little bit. What I was trying to say was that even in terms of foreign direct investment, people will not come to Zambia if you don't have a strong justice system. What happens sometimes is that people would come together, two individuals, three, or even more than that. They put their monies together. They've seen a business opportunity, start a company to make, for argument's sake, taufix in Zambia, to make sausages, to make towels themselves, to manufacture parts of a specific vehicle. And then something goes wrong. These are very complicated financial arrangements. Something goes wrong and they have to part company. Or indeed, the court rules that this kind of partnership or this kind of business venture may continue. In the absence of a strong justice system, people will not get the justice that they expect. Here, we are not talking about people just complaining because they couldn't, the outcome of a court case, for instance, is not in their favor. Here, we are talking about a clear case where the judiciary and whatever systems are in place fail to deliver justice. That would make potential investors, would-be investors, to shun your country for fear that when they came to your country, may be partnered with a Zambian who turns out to disappoint them, not as if to say, I need to underscore, not as if to say Zambians are dishonest and don't go into partnership with them, it will go sour. No, it may even be the other way around. But the bottom line is that people need to have confidence that if they came to Zambia and maybe something went wrong and they need to withdraw, they have a dispute, that dispute would be adjudicated fairly by an impartial judicial system, an impartial, professional, competent judicial system. These words I'm using, these adjectives I'm using, also describe what you would look at as a strong justice system. So the Socialist Party thinks that this is very, very important. And that said, the Socialist Party in Zambia would want to see a system where the judges would be impartial and the entire justice system is full of competent people appointed not to give them a favor because they could have been lawyers of the president or somebody in government, but because they have the competencies that are required. In other words, the appointment should be meritorious, based on merit, and not any association to somebody in government. This is what the Socialist Party stands for. As I said, we stand for justice, we stand for equity, we stand for honesty, integrity, solidarity, and so on. And all these values are required if you are going to have a strong justice system. Is the justice system in Zambia failing? Has it fallen? Our party wouldn't want to see such a situation. We are not pessimists. We are not people who would pray for such a thing to happen, maybe because it would deliver some political fortunes to us. Not at all, because we know that at the end of the day, it's the ordinary people that would suffer. However, the question still remains, is the justice system in Zambia failing? Has it fallen? Is it performing to the expectation of the Zambian people? Do we have a right to talk about this thing? Yes, because it is our system. Enjoyment of our freedoms and rights depends on the strength of this system. So we have every right to talk about it. And if there are some corrupt judges, if the systems are not working well and so on, that relevant authorities can work on them, and we can have a country that can be proud of having a judicial system that is strong, is not falling apart, and is not failing.
All right, pretty interesting there, Comrade Frank. But really, let's get, the party's position on the recent changes that were made to the judicial system. Of course, we saw President Hakainde Hichilema appointing a new director for public prosecution, the Attorney General, Solicitor General, and also judges have been committed, or judges have been appointed in the High Court as well as the other courts. Do you think that these changes will have the desired impact on the performance of the justice system as a whole?
There is a saying, I don't know if I should call it an adage or a phrase, simply a phrase, that justice shouldn't just be done, justice should be seen to be done. Perception is very, very important. We have a president in this country who I want to believe wants to work hard and wants to project himself as very honest, trying to do things differently, as he proclaimed when he was in the opposition. We have a president who I believe all Zambians, just like any other president, all Zambians want to succeed, because the success of the president and the entire presidency accrues benefits to the Zambian people. Now, talking about the appointments that the president has made, and having preambled it or premised it on the issue of saying that justice will not just be done, but should be seen to be done, it underscores the importance of perception. When the president was in the opposition, and the president, let's imagine that today the President Hakainde Hichilema is in the opposition. And let's imagine that President Lungu or President Rupia Banda or any other person is in government and head of government, made such appointments. I want to believe that President Hakainde Hichilema would be very categorical, condemning the president as having appointed cadres or associates. He may even call them pawns or Trojan horses, whatever terms he may use to condemn the kind of appointments that we have seen of late. Now, this is not about questioning the integrity of the person that the president has appointed as DPP, as director at SEC, some of the judges that he has appointed, and he may appoint and so on. That's not the point. We're not questioning, in this particular instance, the integrity, the competence of these individuals, but the signal that it sends and whether it enhances confidence in the system or indeed it erodes that confidence. As Socialist Party, we believe that these appointments are eroding confidence in the entire system, where a president would handpick a person who has served as his lawyer, and we want to believe, having served him as a lawyer or provided the legal services for so many years in the opposition, under the guise of pro bono, for instance, we do believe that there may be something odd here or there. When a lawyer represents you pro bono, you may not owe that lawyer money, but you owe them something. And when you become president and put them in a position, it depends on how that person takes it. They may look at that appointment as a reward, as an opportunity to pay yourself or get paid through taxpayers' money, through that job, for whatever the president owes you. Now, I want to go back to the point I raised, the point of perception. The point of perception. It's very, very important, not just in politics, but in public life. Perception is very important. What signal is the president sending by these appointments? And you see, today you appoint somebody as SEC director. A vacancy arises of that of DPP, and you move them immediately from this position to that position, as if at the end of the day, you have in fact been trying to strategize to put the people that you want here and there and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, that's the signal we are getting. And as Socialist Party, we are just as disappointed as the people of Zambia, because we never imagined that President Hakainde Hichilema would move in this direction. He convinced us, he convinced the Zambian people that he was not going to move in this direction. And now here, I'm not saying he convinced us that he was not going to do what his predecessors, what PF MMD did. Not at all, because here, in some cases, he has even performed worse than his predecessors. So we cannot, in that sense, logically say we expect that he will not do what PF did. He will not do what MMD did, because some of the things he's doing, PF didn't even do. MMD didn't even do. So we think that these appointments are eroding confidence. And it's not just in those positions, in many positions. I do remember, and I want to believe, President Hakainde Hichilema is on record strongly saying the reason why ZESCO was not performing was because PF had filled it with cadres who knew literally nothing. He went to an extent of saying that is a highly technical company, you need competent people, qualified people, and so forth to run that company. Then the company will run profitably. Even the tariffs, the cost of units, to use a simple language, would go down because the people running the company are competent, they run it well, they can raise the money that is required for even recapitalization to break even and so on. But what we have seen today is the opposite of what he preached. Now, that may not be directly connected to today's topic, but again, as a way of concluding on that one, those appointments he has made, which have a bearing or a part of the justice system, when you look at the entire fabric of this system, it doesn't give us confidence. As a matter of fact, it gives us the impression, and in some cases, the conviction, that we have a man here who is trying to create a system for selfish gain and not for the people of Zambia.
Just a follow-up on that, Comrade Frank. So what are the implications of appointing, for lack of a better term, political party inclined people in such key strategic positions, especially when we are dealing with the justice, the judiciary?
You may be interested to learn that I graduated on 15th October, Master of Science in Public Relations with Cavendish University. And my thesis, the dissertation that I did, was talking about the issue of how, I'm not quoting the topic literally, the issue of how new governments in Zambia remove permanent secretaries to replace them with their own preferred individuals, why they do these things, what motivates them, was one of the questions that I investigated. It was a research. And what the paper concluded, I should be able to share the link if Cavendish University has already uploaded it. The conclusion from the people I interviewed was very clear. It's about the spoils politics. It's about sharing the benefits of being in government. So a new government that comes wants to remove all these people to give jobs to its own people. This doesn't only happen in Zambia. It happens in
Lance, am I the
CHAZA,
only one that appears to have lost, our guest?
definitely, we seem to have lost our guest. All right.
Unfortunately,
Definitely.
it must be an issue. It must be an issue to do with connectivity. We had lost you. Would actually to request that you may come back to the point on which you were when Lance asked you that question as regards the appointment, and you were explaining on your thesis or dissertation and what the conclusion was as regards the removal of permanent secretaries and so on and so forth.
Yes, the spoils system is what causes that a new political party forming government wants to create job opportunities for its own people. And I was saying, this doesn't just happen in Zambia. It happens in other countries as well. In some countries, it is rampant and notorious. The United States of America suffered from this, the spoils system, until they put in place laws to ensure that was kept to the bare minimum. So today, as an example, when there's a change of government, are recalled. But there are certain key diplomats who know that once their president leaves, that no one needs to write to them to be recalled or to vacate their positions. They know that automatically their positions are untenable. They pack, come back home, and another person is appointed. But not everyone is recalled. In Zambia, almost everyone. And here I need to underscore that we are not just talking about UPND. The PF did the same. MMD did the same. It's a vice that affects the country, that has a huge impact on the national purse, and it has to be addressed. So talking about coming back to the real issue on the table, why are these things happening? They are happening because the new party, in this case, the UPND, wants to give their people, I will not say those who suffered for the party, because some of those people who have been given these jobs didn't even suffer for the UPND. And I'm sure you as journalists have followed the complaints of many diehard UPND members who complain that people from nowhere, not so many relatives, my study also concluded that the propensity or the temptation to give jobs to relatives is one of the driving forces. But the main one is to reward cadres belonging to that particular party. So this is what is at stake, and we have seen Mr. Hichilema do these things. However, the majority of the people that he has been appointing could be lawyers, could be business associates, or associates of his business associates, and so on. But when he was in the opposition and talked about these things, oh my God, no one would believe that he would move in the direction that he has moved today. So this is regrettable. It has its own consequences and negative impact on the economy, on the public system, not only in Zambia, but in any country where these things are practiced.
Having, brought out these shortcomings, these challenges, and so on and so forth, do you think, there are remedies, that can mitigate or assist in reading some of these shortcomings and challenges?
Yes, as Socialist Party, we believe that there are several avenues to cure this. One of them is that people who are appointed because they are cadres, because they are business associates of the president and so on, can indeed realize that they are there to do a job to serve the Zambian people and do a good job. We have examples of many people who could have been cadres, who could have earned their appointments because of their association to the president, but ended up doing a good job. And the people totally forgot during the tenure of such officers, totally forgot that this person was in fact in them because of their professionalism. But what we are saying is that those who are appointed as favors because of having supported the UPND or having been associates of the president are in fact notoriously exhibiting partisanship, even at the highest level. Somebody on social media saying that maybe it's the title that is misleading, where a person who is not supposed to be a speaker but facilitating speaking is actually called a speaker. Maybe this title is misleading. But then I say to myself, but what about other jurisdictions where they are also called speaker, but they are not there to speak? They are not there to debate. They know their role. As Zambia, we need to do better. I know I'm pointing at the moon, and the wise people are not seeing my finger, they are seeing the moon. I know that. They know what I'm talking about. I hate to, as Socialist Party, we hate to openly criticize leaders who have been given so much power and the trust to serve the Zambian people, because we think that it demoralizes the Zambian people. These are leaders who should be above board. And as Socialist Party, we don't shy away from doing that, but we hate it. We hate it. You know, it's like a father or a mother in a domestic arrangement who is drinking too much and creating all kinds of problems in the home. Maybe even trying to sexually harass one of the members of that household. It's very, very embarrassing. And no one wants to talk about that, but you have to confront it and talk about it. As Zambia, you asked me what are the remedies. As Zambia, I think we need to do better. Members of parliament, and here I must give credit. I can't remember the name of that MP from the UPND. I must give credit. I will remember during the program, I think that member of parliament whose sister or auntie or mother, I can't remember exactly, from Kalabo area died because they couldn't get insulin at the health center. And this MP raised that point on the floor of Parliament, directly challenging the Minister of Health, that what she was saying about availability of medicines in our health institutions was not true in the constituency of this particular member of Parliament. Now, that's what it means to champion public interest and not partisan interests. The backbenchers in Parliament should be able to make even their own government to account on behalf of the people. What more the Speaker? What more the Speaker? And the job of the Speaker is very easy. It's just to allow debate, to facilitate debate. And in other jurisdictions, even in this country, we've had speakers that would put ministers, on their defense and instructing to come with a ministerial statement to explain the issue. And when the minister is not answering the question that is being asked, the speaker is saying, the question is this. Can you please address that question? I was in Australia for almost 4 years. One of the favorite programs I watched was Parliament. And I just loved to see how the speaker was handling the business. It reminded me of some of the renowned speakers we've had, of course, in this country. It is not our intention as a Socialist Party to create the impression that we don't have best brains. We don't have people in this country that have excelled in public service. That is not true. We believe in Zambians. We believe in their wisdom and intelligence. We believe in their capacity to do a good job and make us proud. But I'm giving that example of how I was seeing this speaker in Parliament in Australia saying to the Prime Minister, you are out of order. That was not the question. This is not the time for you to be at sea, just, not being specific. You were asked a specific answer. Can you provide you're asked a specific question. Can you provide a specific answer? And sometimes the Minister of Health, Minister of Home Affairs, Finance, the Prime Minister himself, who was a man, being asked to withdraw certain terminologies and so on. That's the way it should be. Those appointed as cadres, because of certain favors they could have done, have that capacity. But we are not seeing that. We have a situation here now where the speaker is even defending somebody who is failing to provide an answer. And the speaker is just grossing over even unparliamentary terms that are being used by those who are part of the executive. This is embarrassing. It is shameful. And we need to do better as Zambians. These people are paid a lot of money by the same taxpayer, peasant farmers and so on, who are sharing a mameda ya fertilizer. These people should do better. And if they were not ready for these jobs, they should not have accepted. President Hakainde Hichilema, allow me to say this point. President Hakainde, that he has these people who are praise singers, who are, in his view, making him popular. But the truth on the ground is that it is making him unpopular because it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. It's like having Tyson in the ring, being badly beaten, and the coach is not throwing in the trainer there. I think the manager of the trainer is not throwing in the towel. That's the same. I think they owe the appointing authority better. And the more they seem to be defending the positions of those in the executive, the more it looks like they were put there for that specific role.
Thank you so much, Mr. BWALYA. Maybe let me give you a chance, Lance. You can come through.
All right. Thank you so much. I thought you had a follow-up question there. But anyway, however, moving on, Comrade Frank, looking at the current justice system, do you think, or as a party, do you think that there is need for judicial reforms in this country? Are you happy with the way the judiciary is conducting itself now?
Judicial reforms are good. Reforms in general are good. We are human beings. We are dynamic. Things are changing every day. The way in which we do business as human beings has changed, not just over the last 50 years and 30 years and 20, maybe even in the last 6 months. In the last 6 hours, something new has come up. Some technology has come up, and you are doing things in a different way. Who imagined that one day you'd go with a small, gadget and be able to walk out of a store with a loaf of bread, having produced no money at all? Things are changing.
Looks like we have lost him to connectivity once again. I can see him speaking, but I cannot hear. I don't know if you are getting me, Lance, there, or you are getting him.
Chaza, I think it was you. I was able to get him. Comrade Frank, please continue. I think Chaza has issues with his internet.
Thank you, thank you. So things are changing, and we need judicial reforms all the time to deal with new challenges, to deal with some of the problems that are coming up. Now, as you will note, we don't want, as Socialist Party, to be part of those who are contributing to eroding confidence in the judiciary. Because the judiciary is sacred. Even when they make mistakes, we want to correct them. We want to criticize them in a manner that doesn't undermine their authority, because of how important they are, based on those principles that we articulated at the beginning of the program. So judicial reforms are needed. How judges are appointed, how they conduct their business, how the politicians, the executive, relate with the judges. We know of a lot of things that are happening which point to trying to intimidate the judges. Some politicians, presidents, who are not confident, who know that things are bad for them, want to pack the judiciary with people that will deliver favorable judgments to them. President Hakainde Hichilema is on record regretting the decisions coming out of the judiciary over the issue of Kabushi and Kwacha by-elections. The president shouldn't do that, because it has this chilling effect on the judges. Are they therefore going to always please the president in their judgments? Maybe not. But the truth of the matter is that the president would be understood as trying to intimidate the judiciary. The president should avoid statements, actions that amount to intimidating the judiciary. He should distinguish himself as a law-abiding citizen, as a person who considers the judiciary as sacred. Now, when we talk about President Hakainde Hichilema in this manner, we are not comparing him to any other president. We are talking to him as president of the Republic of Zambia, having been duly elected and sworn in with a job to do. And we, as the opposition, we are agents of the bosses of President Hakainde Hichilema. And we provide checks and balances on behalf of our bosses, on behalf of the bosses of the president, the people of the Republic of Zambia, to whom the power belongs. And the power that the president wields is actually delegated power from the people of Zambia. And parliament is their house, where other elected representatives speak for them, because they can't all come and sit in that parliament. And for that reason, whoever is charged with the responsibility of ensuring smooth conduct of that business in that house should ensure that they are above board, they distinguish themselves as good facilitators of that debate.
Pretty interesting there, Comrade Frank, and thank you so much, for being elaborative. But it's about that time that we have to engage our viewer from whichever platform that they are watching us from, either Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. Our dear viewer, we have shared with you the studio link where you can simply click on it, join us into the studio, express a view, as well as ask a question or express a concern that you have on the topic that we are discussing this particular evening, as we are looking at has Zambia's justice system or legal system fallen. This is what we are looking at, and our guest this evening is Comrade Frank BWALYA, who is spokesperson for the Socialist Party. Of course, also IT, can you please go through the messages that have come through so that our studio guest can be able to respond to questions or concerns that our viewers have thrown out to him. And also just a reminder, if you are joining us into the studio, please make sure that you allow both your mic and your camera to come in and also express your view or have a one-on-one interaction with Comrade Frank BWALYA, who is Socialist Party's spokesperson. Our IT, can we have the messages come through? All right, as we are waiting for the messages to come through, CHAZA, do you have a follow-up question, or maybe I can go? I can continue being on the floor.
Unfortunately, I was thrown out by connectivity, so I really don't know the parts that I could have lost. Maybe I may ask if it was tackled already. You can advise. I wanted to find out from Mr. Frank BWALYA that being a spokesperson of a big political party in the country, given a chance to advise the current government on the future judicial reforms. What could be your advice as a party?
Talking about the judicial reforms and what suggestions, the suggestions should not go to the president. We have a body specifically charged with issues of judicial reforms. The judiciary themselves, other important stakeholders, the Law Association of Zambia, and so on, all these participate in looking at some of the lacunas, some of the challenges that arise, some of the things that need to be modified here and there, to use that layman's language, in order to make the judiciary, the justice system, more effective. Now, allow me to say something that we have not said on this program, that even the enactment of the laws is part of this, because the judiciary, the whole justice system, doesn't operate in a vacuum. It is guided by the statutes. It's guided by the laws of the land. So if you talk about bills that may be initiated or pushed by a sitting government, one of the things that we want to say to the president as Socialist Party, and our leader, Dr. Comrade Fred Membe, made it very clear a few weeks ago, talking about the notorious Securities Amendment Bill. The president should ensure that laws that are backed by the executive or indeed initiated at that level are in public interest and not selfish interest. President Dr. Fred Membe articulated himself very well on this matter. And I have seen, I think today, if I'm not mistaken, Comrade, our brother Sean Tembo, writing about the same. The president needs to send that clear signal that is not in that position to take advantage of the authority, of the power that comes with that office in order to benefit himself and his associates. He needs to make that very, very, very clear. And where there is a potential, I'm using the word potential conflict of interest, it is incumbent upon him to even address the nation, that the Zambians know that the president is not acting in this manner because he's associated with a company that is operating a similar business, because these are the signals that can be effectively sent, and sometimes wrongly. And that's why it is incumbent upon the president to clear the air whenever such issues arise.
Thank you so much. Right. I think we can have messages, Lance.
All right. Thank you so much, CHAZA. Really appreciate. So, Comrade Frank, please take note of the questions or concerns that come through so that you can be responding to them at least at a bunch. So the first one that comes through is coming from Soldier Boy Enoch, who says, who, in your opinion, should HH have appointed, if not people who he thinks are capable or qualified? Even in the past, we saw cadres heading ministries. All right, Soldier Boo, thank you so much for that contribution. Queen, good to know that you are watching all the way from Makeni. We really appreciate your support. Let's move to the other message that has come through. All right, let's get to move to another one. Busiku Mponge says, on point, Comrade Frank. Thank you so much, Mpongo, for coming through. Really appreciate, and hopefully I've pronounced your name correctly, but I think Busiku would do. Let's get to another message that has come through. Let's see if we have a concern as well as questions that have come through, comrades. So Solomon Jerry says, we really have to do better as Zambians. Comrade, it's so painful that our people are hungry and he is happy. All right, I don't know who is happy, but thank you so much, Solomon, for coming through. 2026, Kuya Bebele. Thank you so much, Solomon. Let's read one last more. In fact, two, so that we can have Comrade Frank to respond. This one comes from NLS Nkoma, who says, UPND is a party full of lies. They can't walk their talk. 2026, we need regime change, and we are voting Socialist Party. NLS, thank you so much for coming through. Laura also comes through and says, I am enjoying the program, sir. You have not given us the remedies to the challenges being faced. Kindly point them out so that if the government is listening, they can try to implement. All right, Laura, thank you so much for that. Let's have Comrade Frank respond to that before we take in another bunch of messages.
Yes, when you have a program such as this one, you may not follow the textbook procedure where you say remedies and you underline and you say remedy number 1, remedy number 2, and so on. We don't follow that procedure, but I want to believe that we have ably talked about remedies for what is obtaining, and we have underscored the fact that some of these things happening are not just happening today. They happened under previous regimes and so on. And this is a matter of public interest. Yes, I'm spokesperson of the Socialist Party, but as agents of the people. And the way we want to approach issues of this nature is in a manner that is objective, and professional as an opposition. The main issue in terms of remedies is appointing people on merit. Appointing people on merit. Now, when we say appointing people on merit, it brings me to the other person who said, who do you think the president should have appointed? Because even previous governments did this. I encourage you, those of you who are following this program, not just to take one sentence out of a big program, wonderful program like this, and anchor your contribution on that. Look at the totality of what we are saying. We are not going to give President Hakainde Hichilema a list of who he should have appointed there and so on and so forth. It is on merit. We have not said on this program that people who belong to UPND may not be appointed and so on and so forth. We are talking about competence. We are talking about merit. We are talking about those who are appointed to do a good job in a non-partisan manner. And we used examples about what is obtaining in parliament. We used examples about people who have been appointed to key positions, such as the position of DPP. So even in the case where the person who is appointed is competent, certain positions, it sends a wrong signal. You may want to appoint those people maybe to other positions, but positions like DPP, these are very critical positions. Positions such as being part of the board, you call it the board at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, these are very, very critical roles where you don't want to take a person who may not be, so to speak, openly a member of your party, but as long as somebody is known to have been a member of your party, maybe even applied to stand on your ticket, that such people should not be appointed to those positions. The term I used was not that they are incompetent, that it erodes confidence. Now, eroding confidence of an institution, if it is something that means nothing to some people, then we beg to differ. It means a lot. Zambians are praying that whoever the elect as president will continue to instill confidence in such critical state institutions. And we are not asking too much. We are only asking President Hakainde Hichilema to do what he promised himself, that he was going to restore the integrity of these institutions, which according to him had been filled by cadres. Now, let's talk about the DPP, for instance, the former DPP. The former DPP was not a lawyer, to my knowledge, of President Edgar Lungu, and had not known about her, for instance, until she was appointed in that sense. But here you have a person who was seen every day at court with President Hakainde Hichilema, appointed as DPP. What is the signal it is pointing? Again, I want to underscore that I'm not here. We are not here as Socialist Party to question the integrity, the competence of that person, but the signal that such appointments send, and that it is at variance with what the president preached.
Comrade Frank, thank you so much. What your thought as we welcome Honorable Teddy Mwaba. Teddy, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me, and good evening, Comrade Frank BWALYA.
Good evening, Comrade Teddy.
All right, Comrade, you can ask your question or express your view.
Is that a mosquito net I'm seeing behind you?
Yes, it is. There are a lot of mosquitoes here.
I'm doing that as well, because my fear is that if I got malaria, which I've not had since I moved to Lusaka in 2012, that I may end up dying on a bench at UTH because of lack of medicines. Anyway, please go ahead.
Please express your view or share a comment as well as a question.
Yeah, I'm in the same basket with my senior comrade, so I can't pose a question, but a matter of commenting on the matters it's raising is actually raising matters of cardinal importance, and the appointments that are taking place in this government are not pleasing. It's like they are teasing us. If they saw the wrongs in the Patriot Front, Why are they reverting to the same route? It's like they admired the good things or the bad things they felt PF was doing, and they have jumped on the same wagon. Because if the two wrongs can decide to go the wrong way, then it means then we are not making a solution. Look at the appointment coming from Chipenzi. Chipenzi has been a surrogate, a cadre for UPND, and they have brought him in the line to start championing the electoral process. Where are we heading? This is total mockery and the total abrogation of the rule of law and the rights of our people, because they are preparing themselves to come and do fun things during the 2026, because Chipenzi is a typical cadre of the United Party for National Development. Not only doing that, the law system in Zambia has broken down. They are claiming that there is freedom by removal of cadres from the streets. But we are seeing a lot of cadreism happening in government, happening in the streets, even at places, public places. Look at Intercity, look at Rima Tower, look at City Market. Where are we going? What is it that people voted for? There is no difference. So we as Socialist Party, we are appealing to the people of Zambia to admit, yes, we admit whether I voted for him or I did not vote for the UPND. We admit that the mistake was made. And how we correct this mistake? By bringing a credible government that will bring justice, equity, and the peace to the people. The peace, the current government and the current party are saying there is peace. There is no peace. There is mockery. They are telling us to fimbe, to poke. Yes, to kapoka mbalot. Yes, that's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Comrade Teddy. We really appreciate you coming through.
Thank you.
All right. So of course, we continue.
Just allow me to make a small point. I'm sure our viewers have followed and have not heard me at any point during this program talking about people voting for the Socialist Party, canvassing for votes directly, or that President Dr. Fred Membe is the right person to govern this country. I've not said that for a simple reason that the matters we are discussing should actually be approached from a non-partisan perspective. They're too important to make them partisan. The people who participate on this program, such as Comrade Mwaba, as voters, are free because they have seen the potential of Comrade Fred Membe. They've seen the value of the Socialist Party. They are free, and we should encourage them to do that. But I, as spokesperson of the Socialist Party, on a program such as this one, avoided that. Otherwise, some people will be closed. They will not listen to me. They will not, of course, speaking for the Socialist Party, they will not listen to the voice of the Socialist Party through me, because they would think that whatever we are saying is just to make people to vote for us, which doesn't make us any different from President Hakainde Hichilema, because that's what people are saying, that whatever he said was just to hoodwink the people to vote for him. We are not here as Socialist Party on this platform to ask for votes, to hoodwink people, no. But we are here as agents of the people to defend our judicial system, to defend our justice system, because it is so important. In the absence of a vibrant, a strong justice system, we may not even get into government even if the people have voted for us. Somebody may manipulate the system, or indeed somebody may refuse to vacate State House. And with a weak system, it may be difficult to get them out of State House. Of course, they don't live there.
Comrade Frank, thank you so much. Let's get to also get another bunch of messages so that you can ably respond to at least almost, if not everything that comes. So Chisenga Kangwa says, UPND has completely manipulated the country's rule of laws, and this is very sad because they just have to do in the Bwana. All right, Kangwa, thank you so much for coming through. And also just an edge to you, our viewers, we are encouraging you to come through into the studio like Teddy did. Click on that link that we have shared, come through into the studio, open your mic, open your video so that we can have a better interaction right here in the studio. Have a one-on-one interaction or chat with Comrade Frank BWALYA, who is Socialist Party's spokesperson. So Judith Banda says, indeed, the UPND leader is intimidating the judiciary. All right, Judith, thank you so much for coming through. Let's see if we can read another message that has come through. All right, so Enoch is back. He says, we need Mr. BWALYA to clearly and directly bring out the exact issue on which he says the speaker is in error for us to understand and appreciate his point. A lot of things are being politicized to the extent of overshadowing facts or real issues. All right, thank you so much, Sojabu. Hopefully, Comrade Frank, you've taken note of that. Let's read two more and then have Comrade Frank respond to messages that are coming in. All right, so still on Sojabu, he says, well spoken on reforms. Is it possible to change the system so that appointments are made by a board, or what mechanism can ensure that, I'm sure he's trying to say ensure that appointments are professionally done? All right, one last more, and then we have Comrade Frank respond. Diana comes back and says, umuntu ni data, the Socialist Party to Livakali. All right, Diana, thank you so much. Comrade Frank, you can respond.
Yes, talking about what I said about the speaker, I made it very clear that I was pointing at the moon, believing that Zambians will not see my finger, but they will see the moon. Apparently, some people may have seen my finger instead of seeing the moon at which I was pointing. And I will not repeat anything. The exhortation I have made to the Speaker of the National Assembly with a lot of respect, because I respect the Speaker of the National Assembly, distinguished woman, who, in my view, has an opportunity to raise the bar, not only as far as women are concerned, but as Zambians generally, because these are the same people who are appointed to similar roles outside the borders of our country to serve because of the distinguished record they bring from their own home country. I want to believe that the message has been very, very, very clear. But if somebody saw the finger when I was pointing at the moon, I'm sorry, I may not go beyond what I said. I understand the privileges that the Speaker of the National Assembly and all members of Parliament enjoy. I do appreciate the fact that even as we criticize them, we have to make sure that we are within what is acceptable and genuine. And I want to believe that we as Socialist Party are very genuine in commenting on these matters. Talking about the manner of appointments, my paper, which that dissertation I made reference to, I'm sure it will be publicly available soon. You should take interest to read it. One of the recommendations that we have in there is to have reforms in the manner senior civil servants are appointed in Zambia. And in my research, investigations, and so on, I did find out the fact that even in other jurisdictions, this is being echoed, the need for reforms. But we need to understand that we are just human beings. And somebody would say, okay, let an independent body recommend the appointment of such a position. In the case of judges, that's what happens. Recommend the appointment of this particular person, and then the president will appoint that person, then parliament will ratify the name and so on. You have situations where that system, which is a very good system, is followed, but the appointee turns out to be disastrous. We have those systems where names are recommended and the president is not happy with the name. You change the name, and the person who is put there turns out to be disastrous. What stops the president from asking the board to say, among those people who have applied, what stops the president from doing this? So at the end of the day, honesty, integrity is what is important. Above all, to understand that our leaders are put in those positions to do a job for our people, to govern the country properly, develop it, reduce the suffering of our people. And this is why we are in love with the socialist setup. Because when you have a socialist setup, talk about ZAMTEL as a public asset. ZAMTEL would have been properly managed without undermining it so that it makes losses. And the auditors year in, year out are saying this company is making losses, government should just offload it, and so on. The socialist, under the socialist system, you ensure that such companies are not undermined. People don't manipulate figures and undermine the operations, that such companies operate well. And when they make a huge profit, that is our money. That is your money. That is our money. It is money that goes to put medicines in hospitals. It is money that goes to pay more students, meal allowances, and so on, because it is our company. But what happens in a capitalist system is that such a company would deliberately be run down so that somebody can go and talk to his friends across the border to come and buy it. Then it becomes their company. And suddenly, a company that a country with all their resources failed to run is being properly run by an individual or a few individuals. And all the profits that they are making now, they share as dividends to themselves. Then they can pay 150,000 kwacha for their children as school fees just for a semester. This is against what we stand for as the Socialist Party, and it's one of the reasons why I joined the Socialist Party, knowing that we are coming to a conclusion and the important things have been said. I can add in this less important point. It's one of the reasons why I joined Dr. Fred Membe, not as the owner of the party, but as the leader of that party, inspired by his vision and believing that we have a vision that can do well for this country.
Comrade Frank, I know we've gone beyond the time that we asked you for. With your permission, can we read 6 last messages, or we call it quits?
My wife is too far for me to ask for permission for extra minutes. Maybe that gives me the leeway to say, quickly go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's just get 6 last ones, and then we call it quits. So the first one coming from Muya, he says,
Lance, I think I may start dozing. I've been quiet for such a long time, so I think I'll take 3 of the messages, then I leave you with 3, considering that they are 6, you know. Yeah, so this one is coming from Muya Tobolo. Muya Tobolo is saying, Socialist Party is our hope. Mr. Frank BWALYA, what is your comment on how UPND behaved in Kabushi and Kwacha? Thank you so much, Muya. We do appreciate that.
Are you here, CHAZA?
For the next one, Lance, are you seeing? Yes, I am here. If you have seen the next one earlier than me, you can come in. I'll take the following one.
All right. So this one is coming from Hamusonde Jundu. He says, this opposition party in power has landed as Monsala. Where are the promises of Batataba HH? Where is fertilizer in Northern Province? Why is he silent about his cadres shedding innocent people's blood? And those people who have been appointed to certain positions, Mwebantu, are not fit to be in those positions. Vakala tusevana namuma meetings. You know who I mean. Okay, thank you so much, Jundu, for that message. Are you able to see this next one,
Right,
CHAZA?
this one. Yes, indeed. Maria Tembo is saying, indeed, how can they deploy people that are supposed to be retired as leaders, for example, ECZ?
All right, so this next one comes through from Tule Wina. The message goes like, those ancestors of ours who were appointed Kwama ECZ, those old wings are supposed to be resting and leave the positions to us young people. Was that right? Sure. If us young people are not invited to the table of decision making, we will bring our own chairs. We need young people to be given jobs and not the other way around. Winner, thank you so much for that contribution. I think two last more, and then we'll let our guest respond. Director, if we can have two last ones, and then let Comrade Frank respond to comments that have come through. All right, director seems to be having some challenges there. If I may, yeah, so this one says, what Zambians want is Fred Membe. What can you say about the lies UPND gave during campaign, and what action should we take as Zambians? Should we understand them and use the Bible, or continue complaining and vote him out? This one is coming through from Mutale Ngandu. Thank you so much, Mutale, for your message. Quickly, let's have the last one. You can take that up, CHAZA.
Okay, this one is coming from Mpaso, who is actually saying, Bali, if are you walking your talk? Zambians will show you who really they are in 2026. SP is taking over.
All right, so thank you so much. Comrade Frank, please, you can respond to that, and then after that, I think we can get your closing remarks.
How UPND behaved in Kabushi and Kwacha, how do I describe it? I describe it as a person who gets money accidentally through mobile money system, and without asking where this money is coming from, quickly goes to draw the money, and upon being contacted that the money was sent to them accidentally, refuses to return the money. That's how UPND behaved. I don't want to pick an adjective. The Zambians who saw what happened, those who are following the program, are saying, Nibu Pompwe, Nibu Munshibira Nsala, dishonesty, and so on. That's how UPND behaved. There you are. Talking about the promises that they made. Yes, they made fake promises. Fake promises about how they were going to do things differently regarding the justice system, regarding the laws that they were going to push, regarding not making people be arrested on flimsy charges. And one of the evils for which this government will pay is this issue of getting Frank BWALYA being reported by somebody in Kaputa and then bundling Frank BWALYA in a vehicle ukuchusha wakapokola to drive all that distance up to Kaputa to take Frank BWALYA there to be arrested at some remote police station where somebody was paid money to go to the police station and report Frank Musondapiri. And the police start whispering to say, Frank BWALYA, not Frank Musondapiri, Frank BWALYA, because this person doesn't even know who this person they've been asked to go and report at the police station. And President Hakainde Hichilema needs to know this. Those of you who speak to him and are listening, tell him, one day, one of those suspects may die in an accident. These are roads. The police are just human beings. They can be fatigued and somebody dies on the road. The blood of such a person will be on the head of President Hakainde Hichilema. Let him stop this evil. Let him stop this evil. Those who use abangala no lupanga na wewe ne bafu kulupanga. And one day President Hakainde Hichilema will not be in government. And he may be reported. People close to him may be reported to some remote place as having this and that, having said this and that. Same things will happen to them. Now, this last example I've given is a selfish example. People should not do the right thing out of selfish motives. They should do the right thing because the Bible is clear, do unto others the golden rule, and just to do the right thing. It is not right to endanger people's lives, to make people suffer in the manner the UPND has been doing. We condemn that. Issues of fertilizer, the president has accepted the mess, but this government is very interesting. Very, very interesting. In the morning, the president is accepting the mess that they have created in the fertilizer distribution system. In the afternoon, an MP, could even be a minister in parliament, is talking about how the UPND has delivered. For the first time in the history of Zambia, fertilizer has been delivered on time, not what PF was doing. And I said to myself, are we in the same country? They have accepted responsibility for this mess. They have said to the people, wait, we'll do better next year. Now, the people have failed to convince Hanga, Timulolele, next year, wakatupela fertilizer. The people have failed to convince Hanga. About the appointments, yes, it's very disappointing in many cases. Some of the people that are being appointed are too old, they are relics. That President Hakainde Hichilema himself said he would not appoint such kind of people. He would allow the young people to come in. Now, we need to underscore the fact that as Socialist Party, we don't think that old people are useless and that they can't contribute anything. We need people who are competent, who have institutional memory to also participate. But they can participate at various levels, including providing advice. They don't need to be the ones to be in that seat. Honestly, young people are very, 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 very disappointed. They didn't know that President Hakainde Hichilema was going to move in this direction. They never imagined that. Talking about, of course, I think about the lies against President Dr. Fred Membe. The lies will not work. Lies against President Dr. Fred Membe will not work because he's an open book. Everyone knows who he is. Some of us, he helped us even before we ever imagined that one day he will be leader of a political party. He assisted us. Some of us may have had sisters who had a challenge here and there, and you talk to him, or he just heard about it and he assisted you. He's a good man. He's not perfect. He's not an angel. And that's why he surrounds himself with people like Dr. Msumali, Dr. Muiksa, many people, including ourselves, and we work with him as a leader. But when you listen to his wisdom, to his intelligence, his academic record, it's very, very clear. It speaks for itself. And we think that we have a very, very good leader. It was not our time last year when he stood, but we know that Zambians are counting on him. He's raising the hopes of the Zambian people, and that come 2026, we can field him and form government. I've become a little more political now because I know we are coming to the end of the program, and all the issues over which we should be non-partisan have been addressed. And in conclusion, allow me to simply say thank you very much again for this opportunity. Thank you to everyone who participated, and to say to the president, we love him. We love him. We want him to succeed. He's one of us. He's a Zambian. The people gave him that mandate. He should execute his duties with professionalism, with commitment, religious commitment, if I can use that term. When he fails, we fear that Zambians will not believe Dr. Fred Membe when he says, this is what I'm going to do. They may think a politician wants to have a chimochi. So the president, you owe it to us to do the right thing, to raise the confidence of the Zambian people in politicians. So far, what they are saying is that we're politician, babufi. But some, if not many, are beginning to say, they want a politician. You win if you to quit you, ewa abufi.
All right, Mr. Frank BWALYA, we do appreciate, your coming here. And each time we come knocking on your door, you are definitely right, there to open for us. Lance, I also appreciate,
when my supervisors asked me if I would be available for this program, I said, it's my job. And when I've done it, I would say, we are useless servants who only did what we were supposed to do.
Beautiful. we greatly appreciate indeed. Lance, it's been a great time, having you as usual right here. Just like the World Cup is ongoing, every team is reliant on teamwork. No one can actually play soccer alone. So I do greatly appreciate your company here on co-hosting. Not forgetting the people out there that are always there for us, following the program, right on Facebook. Not forgetting YouTube and other social media platforms. The IT, despite the challenges that we do face regards connectivity and so on and so forth, you are there working tirelessly. We greatly appreciate. Till next time, we are saying God bless you all. We are out of here.
Thank you. Ciao.